When you take a look around the current landscape of American sports, it's no question that football is the biggest sport in America. And while there's certainly plenty of room for major college football and the NFL, another part of football is starting to take shape. We saw this with the recent success of the XFL and as well as other spring leagues like the USFL, and even the AAF had a little bit of success before money problems currently forced them to shut their doors. But as many of you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson certainly has some ambitions and some big goals in mind when it comes to growing the spring football scene. And it makes us think over here on the John J Gaming channel, what if we saw a full-fledged spring football league grow to the same size as what we saw with the NFL? Welcome to this Madden 25 franchise, with the only caveat being that every single team that you see is a created team builder franchise. Let's go ahead and dive right into the rest of the specifics. Welcome to this Madden 25 series. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode, a brand new series coming to the channel. As you can see here, man, we are here on Madden 25. And this is for the very first time we actually have the ability to create custom teams. And that's exactly what we did here today. We found 32 custom teams from the Teambuilder website. And we are going to have a all team builder dynasty here in Madden 25. Now, as you can see here on this screen is that you do have the ability, we have mostly, teams from the XFL, USFL, and even the remnants of the AAF from back when the AAF originally existed just a few years ago, as well as a handful of teams out there that I've found that I thought were really cool out there on the Team Builder site. And even though we can't control all 32 teams at once because it has to be like an online dynasty, right? Like, it can't be like an offline file. That's just how it goes. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pick one of these teams here today, man, and try to take them in to destiny, take them in to greatness. And we're gonna rock with our hometown team, the Dayton Triangles. They actually were one of the first teams ever in the NFL back when the NFL was starting to come together. So we are going to go ahead trying to build this Dayton Triangles team up, and we're going to see if we can go ahead turn it into a dynasty here in Madden 25. So I'm really excited to show you how this series is going to play out, as well as try to see if we can build this Dayton team up a notch or two. Now, because a lot of these randomized team builder rosters, they don't have like randomized names, we did simulate 10 years into the future so that we have a little bit of diversity in roster talent, right? So this is what our roster is going to look like here for year number 1 of the Dayton Triangles, the team that we will end up controlling. So quarterback, we don't have a lot at quarterback. Looks like Andrew Colher is going to be our starter, but then we also have Joey Wakefield and then Nick Jackson as backups. Best player on our team, though, is going to be Paul Lashley. He's a little bit of an undersized superstar, 97 speed, though, so he is an absolutely bad man. Does have real NFL aspirations. Fullbacks, we don't have any fullbacks on the roster. Wide receiver, we actually only have 4 wide receivers, which is really interesting to me, but the 2 wide receivers that we do have, Chris Saxon and Leon Thomas, actually aren't too bad, so, I mean, at least there's that. Tight end is Grayson Huddick is going to be our tight end here in year 1. Offensive line, at least we have a nice person being able to block the backside for us. That's our Eric Carey, who's listed as an 82 overall. He's listed as a day 1 starter as well. Left guard, we do have Anton Mills, a second-year player out of Wyoming. Center is Adam Judge, but he's going to be absolutely atrocious. We will need to find a new center in a future draft class, or maybe use one of these guards, maybe slide him down to center. Rashawn Belton once he does come back from injury, because it looks like he might have hurt himself in the offseason, he is going to be one of our better offensive linemen as well. And then Gabe Beltran, the second-year player out of Southern Florida, is going to be our right tackle. Now, in terms of the defensive side of the ball, we have Trey Dawson, a rookie out of Washington. He is a scheme fit, but he's not that great to look at. Russell Cooks is a third-year player out of Arkansas who is on the other side. And then defensive tackle, we do have a baller in Matt Weaver, who's a second-year player out of Louisville. He is an award winner, I guess, in this league as well. But there's an interesting competition for who could be that second defensive tackle. As for linebackers, we have Dylan Wright. And Dylan Wright's going to be our best defensive player that we have on the team. He's a 90 overall, and he's an X factor, which is incredibly rare given in this, this spring league file, we don't really have like those certified X factors laying around. As for Ricky Roberts, he's going to be our starting middle linebacker. He's a third-year player out of Alabama. And then Cameron Spencer will be on the opposite side as a second-year player out of Florida. And then that takes us to the secondary, where we do have two good quarters in Peter Downson, who's a fourth-year player out of Duke, and Paul Bass, who's a third-year player from Temple. Finally, you have your safeties, where you're starting with Denario Allen, a third-year player out of Iowa, and then the rookie for Darrell Upshaw with Stephen Foster kicking. And then we actually don't have any punters, so we will need to find a punter or two. Alright boys, so what we have going here for our very first preseason game is that we are going to be here at home. We're going to be taking on the Arizona Hotshots, and our first drive of the game has us deep in our own territory. We'll see what our rookie quarterback can do as we set up a play action. We get some time downfield, and we were able to find DJ Porter down the field. A good 20-yard throw, which has huge dividends for us as we are able to get out of the shadow of our own goal line. So able to start this drive a lot more comfortably, as we do also get to take a look at one of the best running backs in the UFL. Paul Lashley certainly has some major NFL aspirations, as we'll use him again for a play action, but this time the pressure is going to be able to get home, so Collar just barely gets it off before the pressure does end up getting to us. We have a 2nd and 10 instead, where we throw a dot to the right-hand side. Logan Thomas is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Dayton! And the Triangles of Dayton are going to take the lead against the Arizona Hotshots. Let's go, baby! And that won't be the only touchdown that we'll throw here in this first quarter, as later on in the first quarter, Collar is going to find his tight end, Andrew Heike, or Grayson Heidick is what I meant to say. Still doesn't change the fact that we will have a 14-0 lead. So a hot shot for the Dayton Triangles as we now get into our 2-minute drill here. We have all of our timeouts. At this point, though, we do have all of our backups in the game. We saw what we needed to see from our starters here to get things rolling. And now the backups are going to get some run here in this second quarter, and will likely be the case for the rest of this ball game, as Jackson will drop back to pass, looks over to the left-hand side and finds Bingham. Bingham's going to take this thing down the sideline, and it's going to be able to pick up a massive chunk of yards there before getting out of bounds, doing a nice job preserving the body. We're on the very next play. Jackson's going to drop back, fires over the middle, and Bingham is going to be connected for yet another touchdown. And so the Dayton Triangles are looking to have a dominant first game here in the preseason. Now, with that being said, jumping into the third quarter of action, still up 21-10 as we set up a nice halfback screen over to Thompson. Really like that Jackson is doing a good job of just being patient. Let them come to you. As now we have a 21-10 lead here. Jackson will drop back the pass again. Gonna try and throw it to Bingham, but that was just a little bit off target there. You don't love to see that. That's why he is our backup quarterback, of course, and that's why, you know, we drafted a rookie, I guess, in this little universe that we have. The quarterback that we had is in fact a rookie, where this guy has a little bit more experience with professional football. With that being said, we did have to settle for a field goal, but hey, field goal attempt is still good, so we'll be able to add on a few more points after that, as now we have a chance to, you know, maybe put this Arizona hotshot team away, as we're going to be a little bit spicy here. We're going to go for it here on 4th down. Jackson's going to drop back to pass. We had a man open, but Jackson saw him too late, and so that does mean that we will be turning the ball over on downs. And Arizona will use this as an opportunity to come back, and they actually will eventually take the lead as well. So we might be in a little bit of trouble here, as now we'll go ahead and see if we can get something going on the last couple minutes of the game. And sure enough, we throw an interception, but hold up now. Wait a minute. There's going to be a defensive pass interference called on Max Jackson. So that is going to wipe out the interception, and of course our field position is significantly better, but Wakefield nearly throws an interception there as well. We did have to go ahead and use another one of our timeouts, as Wakefield will look to throw over to the right hand side, but it's going to be incomplete. It's now 3rd and 3. Wakefield in the shotgun. You know this team loves to pass at this point, as we'll go over to the left-hand side and find Leo Thomas, a reliable receiver, able to go ahead, picking up that 1st down. As now we got a 1st and 10 again. Wakefield got some time, throws to the right-hand side, and is able to connect before Bayless could come out and make the tackle. A steady drive here for the day in triangles, as they'll throw again to the right-hand side. Finds Bingham, who gets out of bounds with 24 seconds left on the clock. We got a red zone opportunity. So let's see if Wakefield can come together and try to win this game. But man, 36 was all over that pass. That could have been taken all the way back to the crib. But instead, we have a couple more chances at the end zone. 2nd and 10. We had the perfect throw, but Hudson drops it. Hudson had the game-winning touchdown. He wanted the flag, and that's not going to happen, buddy. That's why you're here in the UFL instead of that coveted NFL. As now, 3rd and 10 coming up. Wakefield throws over the middle, finds Jason Bingham. Bingham having a nice day, over 100 yards receiving. We will use our final timeout here, but with how the preseason goes, how it typically is listen, either there's no overtime, right? That's really what it barrels down to. So that's why we went for it here instead of just taking the points. Normally in this situation, we would do something a little bit different, but, you know, we took the risk, and unfortunately, it's not going to work out in our first game. All right, so we might have lost the first game, preseason game, but a lot of what I like to see here, though, Andrew Collar in particular looked pretty well in the one quarter of action that he had. 5 for 8, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nick Jackson was also able to throw a touchdown as well. On the ground, Paul Walsley was solid. He averaged nearly 6 yards a carry, but we didn't run the ball too terribly much, to be honest with you, though. Receiving wise, Jason Bingham led the way with over 100 yards and a touchdown. A nice job for the 3rd-year player out of USF. Leon Thomas was also able to find the end zone, the former Michigan Wolverine. And then Grayson Huddick, who is one of our tight ends on this roster, had his only catch caught for a gain of 14. Now, defensively, Jonathan Hicks and Jared Strong did each contribute 7 total tackles on the game. We did manage to find a way to get a couple of sacks Eric Burton was managed to get to the quarterback, as did Tim Avent. I don't think we had any turnovers in the game, so that is something that I'm hoping to see get better as the preseason progresses. But after the first preseason game, we did have a few guys level up. George Peterson was one of them. He does level up from a 60 overall to a 61 overall, as we get some boost to his run blocking ability. We also did have a couple of other guys getting some upgrade as well. One of them is Austin Reiner. We're going to bump up his field general rating to get him up to a 60 overall, as he gets a +3 to man coverage, most notably, so that should give him a fighting chance to try to stay on this roster. And then Barry Belden, another one of those offensive linemen. We're going to try to improve his agile ability as well, so we can make him a little bit more of a scheme fit, as he's going to get a +2 to both pass blocking, run finesse, and +1 for run blocking as well. So the next preseason game that we do end up having on deck is that we get to be at home for the first time, and we're going to be taking on the Atlanta Legends. Now, the Atlanta Legends are coming off of winning their first preseason game, while we did everything possible to blow what was essentially an 18-point lead, which is really unfortunate, but, you know, hoping to come out and play a little bit better, but not really the start that we're looking for at all, though, as Jeremiah Walker is going to score first here for the Atlanta Legends, and that's going to remain your score here. We're still down 7-0, as this Legends squad is still trying to put together a little bit of a drive here, as they're looking to extend their lead even further, as they'll drop back to pass, looks over to the left-hand side, and Coleman is quickly going to make the completion out to Thomas. Thomas nearly picking up that first down. As now, 2nd and 3 coming up. We send the blitz, but we cannot cover on the back end, as Atlanta is going to find the end zone yet again. Chuck Thomas is going to find the end zone, and the Atlanta Legends dominate this preseason game initially, as we find ourselves down 21-0. So now we're out here with our backups as we try to find some kind of spark here as we get a little bit more into the second half. The first half, absolutely nothing to write home about, but let's see if we can play a little bit better here in this second half, as we'll go ahead and run it with our tailback. Spears is going to find the end zone. Touchdown triangles, and Dayton is finally going to get itself on the board. But that hasn't been our only challenge today. Not only have we struggled to put points on the board, but we also have had a hard time stopping a nosebleed, as Atlanta is going to score again before we get into this fourth quarter of action. As now we're looking to get some more points on the board. Going to run it with Spears, who's been running extremely well today. Limited opportunities in our certified air raid offense, but able to come out here and really make a good difference here, as we're going to throw over the middle. We're going to find Jason Bingham, who has continued to just impress me here in this preseason, and he's going to find the end zone for the touchdown. Not really much to write home about in terms of celebration, but he understands, still down by 2 possessions. What is there to even celebrate? Now, with that being said, we do have a 3rd and 10, as Wakefield is going to drop back to pass, looking over to right inside, and wanted to throw over the middle, but that is going to be intercepted. Except there is a penalty on the field. We'll see what it is. It's going to be holding on the offense. So, unfortunately, it does seem like our interception is going to stand, which, if y'all been around the channel long enough, you guys have already know we're gonna be aggressive throwing this ball down the field, and sometimes that just means that we're gonna have some turnovers. It's gonna happen every once in a while, but we're certainly doing everything that we can to be aggressive. Unfortunately, it just hasn't really worked out in our favor, as after we failed the 4th down conversion, we do end up giving up yet another touchdown to this Atlanta Legends squad, as we're now mercilessly getting to the 2-minute warning. So winning probably out of question for us, but let's see if we can come out here and try to make something shake out of the 2-minute warning. But Wakefield never saw that defender move back, and that's going to hurt us tremendously as Tony Jennings is going to celebrate in the end zone with his teammates, as it ends up being just an absolute affair of dominance. Atlanta is going to beat us 35-14, as it just goes to show that we can be dominated any given day. Now, after the game, we do at least get a chance to have a few of the guys actually get a little bit of a overall increase. So we'll start with Jonathan Hicks, who is going to be our starting free safety. We are going to give him some of these zone upgrades because we don't expect him to be in man nearly as much. Going to give him +2 tackle and +2 awareness, and that does bump him up to a 74 overall, and he's like that as a star development player as well. But that's not the only upgrade that we receive either. Adam Fisher also gets an upgrade. He's one of our offensive linemen, you know, vying for playing time in that offensive line here in year number 1. And Adam Fisher is going to get a +3 bump to awareness. He's only a normal dev trade guy, but he's a younger player, you know, just a second-year guy out of Purdue. And then Max Dixon, we're just trying to see if we can get him up to 60 overall. Definitely really needs to improve on the pass coverage, which we are going to work on with him. He'll get a +4 in zone coverage, as that will bump him up to a 59 overall. So we get ready to go into our final preseason game, and we actually have more upgrades waiting for us here. So for starters, we have Saquon Bernard, another one of our offensive linemen looking to get better. He is down to a 65 because there is some morale issues on the team. I said that I didn't want to have any, you know, position battles, which, you know, some people in the locker room didn't really appreciate that, and that might nick me in the butt later. But for right now, I really am a believer of, you know, whoever is going to be listed as a higher overall initially, I want them to start, and, you know, we'll make adjustments as needed. But, you know, we're going to work on a few of our guys working on getting some upgrades here. A couple of other guys that we have is Leonard Shirley and Matt Berry as well. Both of these guys looking to get some last overall upgrades before we do go ahead and jump into what we have going on next. And what we have going on next is cuts. We're gonna cut this roster down to the mandated, you know, like I think it's around like 52 to like 55 players. I'm not as familiar with NFL roster limits as I am with the NFL, but we have 67 guys, right? We have 67 guys on this roster, and we're going to have to make some cuts. So this is the last opportunity for guys to make an impression. We'll see if they can do just that when we take on the Louisville Furrows in our final preseason game. So the last preseason game that we do end up having is us going on the road to take on a team that is maybe 2, maybe 3 hours south of us. We're taking on the Louisville Furrows, as the Furrows are going to be looking to get on the board here first at home, as they're going to throw a dot over the middle of the field. It's going to be caught for a touchdown, as Louisville will end up striking first with Jimmy McLean, giving this Louisville squad an early 7-0 lead. But Collar's going to go ahead and run it here with Paul Lashley, and Paul Lashley is able to get to the outside. We'll always have a safety blanket in Paul Lashley, especially when it comes to trying to generate some of those bigger running plays through the ground. And speaking of those bigger running plays, Paul Lashley nearly finds the end zone on the ground, but will be just 1 yard short to where eventually we will find our receiver Sexton in the end zone for the touchdown. And just like that, we're going to tie things back up again. So we're all knotted up here at 7 apiece here as we get deeper into the second quarter of action, as the Furrows are going to throw over the middle. And Jimmy McLean, he's shown that he can scoot it a little bit here, already having 1 touchdown today, able to pick up the first down against our defense. So it's basically sets up a red zone opportunity with less than 30 seconds left in the half, as Ernest Cox just happens to be in the right place at the right time. And Ernest Cox is going to shut that red zone opportunity. He's going to take it down right away, as that will take us into a tied ball game going into the half. So on a rainy night here in Louisville, Kentucky, we have a defensive struggle. However, midway through the third quarter, we have a chance to change that, as we're going to get DJ Porter involved. Porter is going to be able to find plenty of space across the middle of the field in order to pick up a first and goal opportunity. So now, first and goal from the 8-yard line. We're going to run a jet sweep with Thomas, and it goes for a touchdown, but hold up a minute. Of course, the one time the jet sweep actually works, we're going to have a holding called upon us, man. That is so disappointing to see. Thought we were going to be able to get away with, not going out there and having that type of stuff happen to us. But unfortunately, it is what it is. As now we find ourselves with a second and goal now, trying to get those points back. And Collar has nowhere to go and wanting to try to get out of the pocket to throw that pass away. But probably should have just settled with just trying to throw it out of the back of the end zone instead. That's a huge sack. So it's going to take us back all the way out to the 18-yard line to where we got third and goal. But let's see if we can pull a fast one here. Going to get the tailback, Paul Lashley, out into the open space, but it isn't going to end up in a touchdown. So that penalty really did hurt us here, honestly, because we don't get that touchdown on the board. But we still managed to come away with a field goal, and it keeps us very much in this matchup, right? Still very close between us and Louisville as we get into this final quarter of action. Still knotted up at 10 apiece, as now third and short, looking for another first down. Wakefield surveying the defense as he drops back, looks over the middle and finds Simmons, who fumbles the ball within a couple of yards away from the end zone. And Louisville is going to recover. That's just a tough break, man. That is such a tough break to have, as Louisville is going to turn around and get a field goal off of that turnover. So now we find ourselves down 13-10. So less than 2:30 left in the ball game as Wakefield wants to get one more good play in before the 2-minute warning. And sure enough, we got with Jason Bingham, who's going to be able to get out of bounds. It picks up a good set of yards there once again. He's been very reliable here in the preseason. At the bare minimum, certainly going to be a good depth piece, as I thought we were going to have triangle wide but naked open. I wanted Bingham again, but there was some major contact at the line of scrimmage. Was not enough for that defensive pass interference, so at least that's not what the officials thought. But I'm not surprised that they miss a call every once in a while, because even if the NFL refs miss calls, then chances are these spring league officials, they're going to miss a call or two as well, as that's a nice running catch for Alexander. That's going to be able to at least get us into field goal range. But listen, this is the preseason, man. I'm trying to be aggressive, and I'm trying to win. 2 minutes left as Wakefield throws over the middle and finds Spears. Spears out of the backfield, able to pick up about 6 yards on the pass. So it makes the second down a lot more manageable. See if we can take a deep shot down the field, but didn't like what I saw in terms of the coverage. Loved it with Thomas, though, who fumbles it at the very last second. Oh my goodness, that is the second time that we fumble it inside the 5-yard line. And while we were able to get a free and out, that takes away all of the timeouts that we were going to have. So 30 seconds left here, and we got to realize our kicker, Stephen Foster, we got to get him to around the 30-yard line. So we got probably 15 to 30 yards to go, but Wakefield takes a sack. He could not get rid of it, and I thought I called a pass play here, but it looks like the game defaults to a run, so we settled with the halfback draw, cannot stop the clock, and it doesn't go anywhere, and that's how this game is going to end, bro. we lose our third preseason game in a close one, 13-10 being your final score. We got a lot of fight in this team, but it's very clear it's going to be an uphill battle. Checking out the stats in that final preseason game, and Andrew Culler put up a solid performance as a rookie. 207 yards, threw a touchdown, had an interception though, and he was 24 for 34. Joey Wakefield played most of the fourth quarter and nearly led that comeback, going 8 for 13 for 100 yards. Meanwhile, for running, Paul Lashley did not get many chances to run the ball, but when he does, he actually is very good with running that football. He ran for 6 carries for 43 yards. Receivers, DJ Porter, who we did bring in recently, he had 8 catches for 74 yards. That leads all of our receivers, with Leon Thomas being not too far behind. The only person that had a touchdown today, though, was Chris Saxon, who had 6 catches for 56 yards. Now, defensively, Ernest Cox led the way as a rare veteran here in the spring football league. He led the team with 7 total tackles, with Dylan Wright able to procure 5 tackles himself. We did a good job of getting to the quarterback, though. We had a few sacks in the game with Josh Jimenez, Tim Avant, and Matt Weaver able to get to this quarterback. Multiple turnovers forced as well, which you saw what we had with Ernest Cox, our middle linebacker. Dylan Wright off screen was also able to get an interception as well, but it just seems like our turnovers were a little bit more untimely, right? And we ultimately lost the turnover battle, which ultimately ended up being the difference. Now, after the game, we do end up getting an upgrade for our starting tight end and Grayson Huddick. Grayson Huddick is, we're going to put a point in for that vertical threat, and Grayson Huddick will be up to essentially a 79. He gets a plus in many categories, but most importantly, he gets a plus 3 in run block finesse, as well as some route running upgrades as well. Now, before I kind of wrap this video up, I wanted to give a brief breakthrough of, what the divisions are going to be. So, starting in the division that we are going to be in, that is the AFC North. We will share that division with the Columbus Destroyers, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the Evansville Thunderbolts. That will be the AFC North. That, as we are, obviously the Dayton Triangles. For the AFC South, that is going to be the Houston Roughnecks, the Orlando Guardians, San Antonio Brahmins, and the Birmingham Stallions. The AFC East will have the Boston Mariners, Albany Imperials, the DC Defenders, of course, and the Memphis Showboats. Then we got the AFC West, which has the St. Louis Battlehawks, the San Diego Fleet, Salt Lake City Corona, I think is the name, and then the Vegas Vipers will complete the AFC West. Now over to the NFC North, we just saw the Louisville Thoroughbreds, and they will be joined by the Chicago Enforcers, the Minnesota Blizzard, and the Michigan Panthers completing the NFC North. The NFC South will have the Atlanta Legends, the New Orleans Breakers, Arlington Renegades, and Tampa Bay Bandits. NFC East will have the New Jersey Generals, Charleston Dirty Birds. That's one of those team builder teams that were like a little bit off the box, had to get them into this game, obviously. The Philadelphia Stars and the Charlotte Knights. NFC West will have the Eugene Chiefs, Seattle Sea Dragons, Arizona Hotshots, and LA Wildcats. And that is going to wrap up really your divisional breakdowns here in this new Madden universe, if it was entailed towards spring football. So next episode, we will not only prepare for the regular season, but we'll start with the regular season. How I kind of want to do things here is, obviously not every game is going to have its own episode, because then 17 plus episodes in a for one season is a little bit egregious in my opinion. So we're gonna have multiple episodes per season but there's going to be multiple games per episode. That's at least how I see things breaking down, right? So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been really fun to get this series started for you guys. I was waiting for the Teambuilder website to come online before I brought this series to life on Madden 25. But with that being said, we're going to start the regular season next episode. Going to cut some players as well. And with that being said, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping that you guys like the video. And if you did, make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well if you happen to be brand new. And with that being said, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.